What if the heaviest thing in your backpack wasn't the gear inside it, but the memories you refuse to let go of? And what if holding on to your pain for too long could stop you from reaching safety? Daniel had spent years running from his past. Whenever life became quiet, the memories returned. One autumn morning, he arrived at a mountain trail in Northern California. He told everyone he was there for adventure, but deep down, he was trying to escape the person he had become. Daniel tightened his backpack and started walking. A few miles into the trail, he found a smooth gray stone. It reminded him of his father's voice. "You'll never be good enough." Daniel placed the stone inside his backpack. "It's just one," he whispered. Later, he remembered a friend who had abandoned him when he needed help. He found another stone and added it to the bag. Then came the memory of a lost job, a broken relationship, and an opportunity he had ruined because he was afraid to try. For every painful memory, Daniel picked up another stone. A stone for every mistake he kept replaying in his mind. At first, the backpack felt light, so Daniel kept walking. Days became weeks. The trail grew steeper and the backpack grew heavier. Soon, the backpack had become a record of his entire past. Daniel carried it as if his pain needed to be carried in order to be real. One afternoon, he met an older hiker named Mara. She had weathered hands and the calm eyes of someone who had survived difficult seasons. She watched Daniel struggle up the path. "That backpack looks heavier than you are," she said. Daniel forced a smile. "It's nothing. I can handle it." Most people say that right before they collapse. "It's important stuff," Daniel replied. Mara picked up a small stone. "Important," she said gently, "isn't always the same as necessary." Daniel pulled his straps tighter. "I can't leave these behind." Mara looked at him and said, "You can. You just haven't decided that your future is worth more than your burden." Then she continued up the trail. That night, the weather changed. Dark clouds rolled over the mountains. Heavy rain turned the trail into mud, and a flash flood rushed down the slope. Daniel hurried toward higher ground, but the backpack pulled him backward. He fell to one knee and grabbed a branch to keep from being swept away. Above him, the trail climbed toward a rocky ridge. Safety was close, but the slope was steep and flooded. Daniel tried to move forward. The backpack dragged him down again. He shouted, "Why won't you let me go?" Thunder rolled across the valley, but inside his mind, he heard the answer, "Because you keep holding on." Daniel opened the backpack. Then he picked up the stone marked by failure. Daniel turned it over in his hand. It was ordinary, just a piece of rock. The memory had given it power. His fear had given it weight, and his hands had kept carrying it. Outside, the flood grew louder. Then he understood. He had been carrying the past as proof that he had suffered, but suffering did not have to become his identity. Slowly, Daniel began to let go. The first stone fell into the rushing water. He expected guilt. Instead, he felt space. The second stone followed, then the third. With every stone he released, his shoulders lifted a little higher. He did not forget what had happened. He simply stopped giving those memories the power to control his future. At last, only one stone remained. It carried Daniel's own name. It represented every mistake he had punished himself for and every chance he believed he had wasted. Daniel held it against his chest. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Then he took a slow breath, not for the person he used to be, but for the person he still had time to become. And he let the final stone fall. Daniel stood and began to climb. At dawn, he reached the ridge. The storm moved across the valley, revealing a sky painted in gold and pale blue. For the first time in years, Daniel did not feel chased by yesterday. He felt present. He felt alive. As the sunrise spread across the mountains, he finally understood. You can honor your past without living inside it. You can remember the lesson without carrying the wound. And you can love who you were, while still choosing who you will become. So, if your own backpack feels heavy today, stop for a moment. Ask yourself what you are carrying. Is it helping you move forward? Or is it only proving that you were hurt? Not every memory deserves a permanent place in your life. Some things are meant to teach you. Some things are meant to be left beside the trail, because the future is still waiting for you, and you cannot reach it while carrying everything that belongs to the past. So, take a breath. Loosen your grip. Set down one stone, then another. The trail ahead may still be difficult, but now it belongs to you. And sometimes the bravest step forward is the moment you decide to stop carrying what was never meant to define you.